All right, Shalom. This is Howard One by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp, located right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Before I begin, I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Harakah Kodash, Ma'amath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, and Akwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. It's going to be a quick lesson dealing with this whole Pearl Harbor Day that these people were recognizing, I think, yesterday, December 7th. What's today? Okay, December 7th and December 8th. They were recognizing Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, all right, of the attack, alleged attack that happened in Hawaii on United States naval ships. All right, it's called the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which killed thousands of people. Now, we know, according to allegations, and what they call conspiracy theories, but we know that it's not a theory anymore. It's just conspiracies that's happening with with Esau having that hidden hand in the mix, just like during September 11th, just like JFK, assassination of JFK, just like Pearl Harbor, to initiate these wars. All right, I think what was his name, man? It's a big new. No, what was his name, man? Brzezinski. All right, this was his name. This is what initiated World War I in 1914, 1918, with Germany getting involved, with Kaiser Wilhelm getting pulled into it, into the war. It says the assassin, his name was Gavrilo Princip. He was known as the person that poisoned, what was his name, man? King Ferdinand or something like that. All right, I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, he poisoned Franz Ferdinand. All right, why did the Black Hand assassinate Franz Ferdinand? I can't say the name. Ferdinand. It says where it was learned that the heir apparent to the Austrian throne, he was the Austrian king, Franz Ferdinand, was scheduled to visit Sarajevo in June of 1914. The Black Hand, which goes into Esau, decided to assassinate him because of his perceived threat to Serbian independence, man. All right. So let's read this real quick. This was World War I. The assassin, Gavrilo Princip, was a member of the Bosnian Serb nationalist group seeking to unite territories containing ethnic Serbs under Serbia's control, convinced that the Serbian government had assisted Princip's group. Austria-Hungary issued a series of harsh demands, most of which the Serbs accepted. All right, so yeah, man, there's a lot of back and forth, tit for tat. People that wanted to make peace, people that didn't want to make peace, just like today. Then they sent somebody in there to assassinate King Ferdinand. That's his name. All right. Let me get something real quick. Right, he was known as the Duke of Austria. That was Franz Ferdinand, and he was assassinated. And that's what initially kicked off the war. Because then you had Germany that backed up Austria. All right. Now, and Serbia was backed by Russia and that, Britain and their allies. All right. So now, then you have World War II with Hitler, who was a general in the German army who was moved up to be he was just a soldier, but then he was moved up to be the leader of their army. All right, when they got rid of Kaiser Wilhelm. They call him Apollyon, which is known as the destroyer of Europe. Basically, he destroyed his own shit, trying to go to war, and that's what kicked off these scenarios of war: World War One, World War Two, and now we're going into World War Three. You still have treaties in place. You still have tensions in place from World War One and World War Two. All right. So now we're going into. Let me get this real quick. So now you got things escalating around the world with tensions between Russia, China going against America and Israel. You got Israel going against Gaza and the Arab world over there in the east. So it's perfect. The same way World War II, things were heating up for months, for years, and then eventually a move was made by Germany to take all of Europe. And then that's when their allies stepped in and went full-fledged war with Germany. All right, thus you have United States getting involved. All right, so we're in an environment right now where tensions are high, nations rising against nations, and they can easily spark a powder keg in any direction over there in Ukraine. If they go at the NATO countries, which they're talking about doing now, if they use nukes, which they're talking about doing, Russia, in the Middle East, that's what they call the Middle East, with Israel and Netanyahu, who to me is moving in that same spirit of Hitler right now, and the Nazis, and how they're treating those Gazans in the Arab world. They calling everybody Goyim, like so, and they want to destroy the whole Arab society. Now, anything could happen, man. Somebody can get assassinated. They can go into a country like Iran, or go at Yemen or Lebanon, and then Israel can go at one of them, bomb one of those areas in which they're allies with Iran and the Houthis and Hezbollah, et cetera, who are also allied with China and Russia. See, they're going to be dragged into this war. The scriptures say that the least among them shall draw them out. Draw who out? All the powerhouse nations. Because after World War II, the bigger nations, the more dominant, rich nations, they decided to go into a proxy war setup, to where Russia, China, America, all these big dogs, Britain, they wouldn't get involved in direct wars, nuclear wars or whatever. They would use proxies, meaning they're at war, but they're going through smaller countries. Even the next stage that they're going to now, they're still not going into direct war yet. But they have moved into the phases of nukes, suitcase nukes, that could be moved through proxy nations. All right? So even the proxy wars are going to increase and get more deadly. And then you have that major war, direct war between the big dogs. And that's the end. Because that's when they're going to start shooting nukes, ICBMs, and invading each other's countries. So it says Pearl Harbor Day, Remembrance Day. They don't want to remember the Gadites. They just celebrate that shit instead of having a day of mourning. It says historical photos show the December 1941 alleged attack in Hawaii. On December 7th, 1941, a surprise attack at Pearl Harbor Naval Base in Hawaii would officially begin the United States' involvement in World War II. All right, and that goes into Revelations, where it said he had power in the sight of the dragon to call fire from heaven. That's America. You know, Britain, all those European nations, UK, they own America, so they allowed America to come into the war as the spearhead for NATO, the beast, and to put fear into these nations because Germany was about to go take Britain. When they went to go do that and take all of Europe, that's when Britain was like, yo, shit, let's bring in America. And America got involved. They used Japan. They allegedly said that Japan, which was an Axis member with Germany. It was Germany, Italy, and Japan. Italy wound up switching sides. Italy was originally taken by Germany, going to war with Germany. But then, in 1940s or 1941, I think it was, you had, what was his name, man, that Italian dude, man, Mussolini died. We know about Mussolini and the Moors, but Mussolini was an Italian general, and he died around 1940 or 41. And he was against Germany. But once he died, they brought in some guy named King Emmanuel or something like that, the second. Once they brought him in over Italy, he agreed with Germany and he joined Germany. So that's how you have the Axis, which would be Japan, Germany, and what I just said, Italy. So now Japan was known as the dominant over the Asian Pacific or Asian country, a territory at that time. But now Japan, they used Japan and said, hey, they bombed Pearl Harbor. So now they had a reason to bring America into the war. So that's what this is about. Red lines being crossed or created and then crossed. Same way you have tensions real high today with Iran waiting for Israel to cross that line or go into Yemen or go at the Houthis, waiting for America to respond. That's why America's ships and their bases are getting attacked. The scriptures say that the tree shall be shaken and their fruit shall fall into the mouth of the eater. So whatever nations seeking to devour American bases, they're going to get them over there, man. Scriptures say that their stank shall come up. All right? So the same thing that happened in World War II is the same thing that's being sparked for this last war. You know? That's why scriptures say that Revelations 11, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, man. And we seeing it happen quickly. Things are moving fast right now. All right. So it says, according to the that day which Franklin Roosevelt would notably call a date which will live in infamy, is now recognized each year as National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. They make a day out of everything. According to the National Park Service, 2,403 service members and civilians were killed, and another 1,178 people were injured in the attack. Right? Because this was also the progression of their technology. World War I, spoken of Revelation chapter 9, with Kaiser Wilhelm leading the Serbian, or what you would call the Austrian army against the Italian army or whoever, all them getting involved, and they had hair like women, meaning they had them tassels on their damn hats, and they were flying gunners, what they call them, dog fighters, shooting from the back of their ship what the scripture say, the power was in their tail, and they would do campaigns for a few months or a couple years on people's soldiers, on citizens, you know, and that would kick off World War One's technology increasement, and then World War II, they would move to the missiles being dropped towards the end of World War One, missiles being dropped by hand from the planes, and then they started shooting the missiles from the planes with the gunners, you know. and then you have what we have today, the nuclear age, once America got involved. World War II, 1941 to 1945, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It says they wanted to attack 2 U.S. naval ships, the USS Arizona and the USS Utah, were also permanently sunk, and 188 aircraft were destroyed. Commemorations are held every year in the Hawaii and across the country to mark the day, and the American flags will be flown at half staff. They don't do that on Thanksgiving. All right, so they had the photos of the attack, 1941. So these things can spark the wars, man. That goes into a Revelations 11, you know, when America's cities are attacked. Behold, the third woe coming quickly. So it's going to be a world war, ICBM missiles being shot off at each other, different countries. But America is going to get the brunt of the attack. Will turn into a lake of fire. 200 million, really, warheads going to be shot out of these missiles. All right. So I'm going to just read this real quick, because this is the time we're in. When you start hearing of what Matthew 24 and 26. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Just like World War I, World War II. They were proxy wars at first, the build-ups. And then the powder keg got lit, and then it exploded. You know? So the tensions get higher and higher. And all the black hand, as they say, got to do, the devil's hand, all they got to do is just sneak in there and just light the switch. So you have it on multiple fronts. You have China with Taiwan and America. You have Israel with Hezbollah and Hamas, who are backed by Iran. You know, and Lebanon, Yemen, Jordan, who are also backed by the UAEA, United Arab Emirates, who are backed by Russia, China. See that? And also Syria. So everything's on the table right now. Now we're just waiting for one of those powder kegs to get lit. And they got 3 of them all around the world. You even got Russia going over there to Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates today, meeting with all these Arab countries, hoping to build an allegiance and create something called anti-American policies. That's why scriptures say that when this place Babylon is finally in trouble, that's when these nations are going to be set up and being a foreign Voltron around this damn place against it. So we're seeing all these things come to pass. We're seeing the build-up and the allegiance of these nations coming together, policies being changed, treaties being removed, so they can have these build-ups. But people, you know, as soon as we saw them going to Gaza, we're like, this is it. Nah, this ain't it. This the build-up to the war, the last war. All right, so I'm gonna read this real quick. Matthew 24 and 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Is there World War III? We're hearing about it. World War II, just like World War II. You know? Be ye not troubled, so we don't need to be troubled. All we need to do is wait on the Lord. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? You got a lot of people doomsday prepping and shit. You got these YouTubers. Coming in today, we got a major emergency. No, it ain't no damn emergency. Shit is just building up. The Lord said just watch and wait. You know, a lot of these people, they get clickbait. Emergency alert today. Could it happen tonight? It could happen any day with Russia. It's like, no, it ain't gonna happen until the prophecies happen in order. Russia and them can't do shit until the Lord say so. Revelation chapter 7, holding back the winds. All right, so it's the Most High control that moment to where it's just like things just, boop, the page turn. Gavrilo Princip assassinated King Franz Ferdinand, which kicked off World War I. Germany tried to take all of Europe, which brought in Japan and all the other allies. I mean, Slovakia, Britain and America and all the other allies. Even Russia was an ally at that time, and China. And then you had the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which we all know and believe that it was the hidden hand that had a lot to do with that. Just like with Gavrilo Princip, they said a black hand sent them in there to assassinate him. These rich elites, these globalists that want war so they could change it and bring in their form of control. Through World War I, you had the banking setup established. You had taxation and the IRS established. The dollar system established 1944 because of all this. You know, so now 1914 you had the establishment of the dollar and the IRS, etc. All right, so now they're changing over to a new world order. So what do they need? More conflict, more war, more confusion. Order out of chaos. They made order out of chaos. So they want to cause the chaos and claim they're bringing the order, new world order, based upon digital and Satanism. All right. So it says all these are the beginning of sorrows. All right. So these are the beginning of sorrows that we're seeing today. Just like, let me get this real quick. Isaiah 47:5. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms, right? And that was America was called the Lady of Kingdoms, queen or king over these nations. All right, the whore, spoken of in Revelations. All right, glorified. But now it says, I was wroth with my people. See, that's why America was created, for us. A place was prepared for us for our punishment. And now that our punishment is almost over, this place has no more use, no more purpose to it. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. See, that's why we're scattered over here and around the world. Thou didst show them no mercy. Okay, upon the ancient hast thou heavily laid thy yoke, and thou hast said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Right? All right, so when they brought that fire down in the sight of Europe, that bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I think it was Fat Boy and Little Man, the big atomic bombs with Oppenheimer, the German Temanites that were hired to split the atoms and all such and deal with science and hydrogen and all that. Well, that was a trap that the Lord set against this place. Pearl Harbor, it was all a trap. That was the turning of the page. Without that, that war wouldn't have really kicked off. So something's going to happen. They're going to step into the wrong lands. Russia may go into a NATO as they were provoked to. And then one of the NATO countries, Israel could be stormed by these UAE countries, United Arab Emirates countries. They could come at Israel and attack it with Hezbollah missiles, which would not be able to stop. They wouldn't be able to be stopped by the Iron Dome over Israel, especially if Iran get involved. So could they go into Yemen next as they're pulling out of Gaza a little bit? So it says what? Therefore know this. Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. So America believes that this place is going to continue forever. All right. So they don't believe they're going to lose their soldiers or their power seat. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. The loss of children, meaning their military is going to be destroyed, you know, and a lot of their politicians. And their allies. And widowhood, see, they're gonna lose their allies, man. They shall come upon thee in their perfection. Man, America is gonna have no help from Europe. For the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. So they trusted in their business, their robbing, stealing, and killing. Trusted in their nukes, which ultimately is a snare to this place. The Lord laid a trap. And it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. They trusted in the dollar. They trusted in their military going over there in the east, thinking they were going to take over everything. Thou hast said, none seeth me. See, they think nobody can see him, but the Lord has exposed them. He showed the nations, the Lord Yahweh showed the nations America's shame. All right, all the treaties that they were breaking, all the weakness that is really under, boasting like they're the big dog when they actually are weaker at this point than Russia and China. All right. Showed that America was the whore being used by Europe to steal all the resources and wealth from nations like Russia and China and these other countries through the dollar, through sanctions. All right, so they got exposed, man, for breaking treaties. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge have perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, just like Pearl Harbor. All right, and it's going to draw America into the war. Thou shalt not know from whence it ariseth, man. And mischief shall fall upon thee. So it's going to happen out of nowhere. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. Could have suitcase nukes, the dollar crash. Russia and China could just push it's like, why attack America when they could just sit back and wait? Because they know the demise of the dollar is creeping up, because America, I think, is at 40-something trillion now. So they know the demise of America is around the corner. So why rush? Why should Russia and China attack America? They should just wait. If I was them, they should just wait for it to fall and then attack. That's why the Lord said that. Get thou in the dust, sit thou in darkness. You know? And when this happens, that's when these nations are going to be round about against this place. All right, so yeah, man, we're just waiting for that powder keg moment for the page to turn. But we got to be ready, according to Revelation 7. All right, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Ooh, man. So yeah, man. So this is gonna happen, and when it happens, they're gonna declare war on one of these major countries, just like Germany declared war on America once Pearl Harbor happened. America declared war on Japan, and then after declaring war on Japan, Japan's ally Germany declared war on America, and that's what kicked off America's involvement in World War II. So all that has to happen is one of these situations with Russia, any of those countries over in the Arab countries, with Israel go into one of these nations and America's back, Israel's backed by America, or a NATO country, a NATO ally gets attacked by Russia, even though Russia was provoked to do so. Then Biden's Sleepy Joe, he already put it out there. He said, we are an ally to NATO countries, so we will back them against Russia if need be. Why? Because they want the war. All right? They want this war to happen, man, so they can gain more control. So with that, I'm going to end it, man. It's kind of dealing with the topic of the Pearl Harbor situation they were acknowledging these past couple of days. But they won't acknowledge all the death and destruction they caused to our people. So, hey, man, it is what it is. But, yeah, that powder keg moment, the turning of the page, the pulling of the string on the yarn, the ball of yarn, you know, the pulling of that Jenga block, and it caused the whole building to fall down. That's what we're waiting on. That's when the Lord is intervening. He's mustering the host of the battle, and then ultimately he's going to have a trigger moment. And that's what we're watching for. So with that, I'm going to say shalom, stay focused.